So 1, 2, 3. We're here with Mark Chris. What's up, Mark? The podcast is hosted by myself and Ian. How you doing, my man? What's going on?
All is good. All is good. How are you?
I'm good. I'm good. Better now with you. Ian and I love you. You know that.
It's been a minute.
Yeah, I feel like I'm looking at you like, wow, it's been a minute. You look great always. You look like you lost some weight a little bit. You've been running and stuff?
I've been working out a lot, yeah.
You look great, bro.
Running, lifting.
Yeah, I love it. I love it. So
Man.
what's going on, Mark? What's going? It's been some time. Like, what's going on with everything? How's life? How's that? How's the brand?
All is good, man. All is good. It's been a while since we've caught up. So what's been new with the brand? I mean, the brand's still going strong. About to release the next collection.
The Rock follows you, and
yeah,
has your shoes on. I'm actually going to an event later tonight, and I got a little bit of inspo from one of those posts that we did, with the style. You're wearing black, the blazer.
Yeah.
Oh, you got it all going. Oof.
Hey, there we go. The hide.
Which one were those? Which model is that?
There you go.
Fire. I like that. That's like actual, like, what's the material on that one again?
It's cowhide.
It's cowhide, right? Oh,
yeah.
Beautiful. I love it, Ian. You're ready to go. Mark does give off that vibe, bro. When I check your page, I go back in my closet. I'm like, wait, hold up. I need to get everything a little more tailored. This, that. I love that you're on it with that. But Mark, just for those that don't know you, as you know, we love you. You're a friend of ours. Like, if you don't mind, introduce yourself, like who you are, what you do, and I love the brand. That people can see that we just showed this too. I'd love for you to introduce a bit about yourself.
Yeah, I guess a little bit about me. Mark Chris, I founded the brand back in 2015 when I couldn't find really what I wanted to wear. I've been into design forever. As a kid growing up, for my birthdays and Christmas, I was asking for like pencils and paper to draw. Like designed my first car when I was like 10 years old. I still have that drawing. I should have brought that on. Went to architecture school for college, so I was always into design and like just visualizing things that don't exist, putting them on paper and then watching them, kind of come to fruition. And I've always been into men's fashion, and I think that comes from a few areas. I've got 2 grandfathers that, they passed away now, but they were very well dressed men, like that Dean Martin era. And
my condolences too, just to mention.
What's that?
My condolences with the grandparents.
Thanks. Yeah. No, it's been a while. I'm back to my teenage years. Yeah, thank you.
Okay.
No, we're talking years and years ago. But I grew up and I'd watch, the way they dressed and really films, dude. Seeing how, like, I noticed it with the Titans of Industry. Whether it was the Mafia movies, whether it was the Wall Street movies, there was something changed in me when I was like a teenager, where I realized that like the most powerful, confident men, they weren't, they were all dressed, to the nines, and they exuded that confidence, and they also looked classic. So I've been into men's fashion really since a teenager. And it wasn't until my 20s that I couldn't find the shoes I wanted to wear, and I kept thinking like, man, why don't they make a shoe like this? And I just would go and I'd start deconstructing shoes in my mind. Like when I go to the store, I'd go to Saks or Nordstrom's or whatever. I'd be looking at a shoe and I would just be deconstructing. Like, man, why didn't they do it with this color? I wish they put this here. Why they should change this to that. And I started having all these ideas in my head. So after a while, I was like, there's a big void in men's footwear. It's either like the same basic styles that have been around forever, or it's like over the top, just over the top.
Yeah.
So I was like, there's nothing in the middle. There's nothing that's kind of modern, but also refined and a little bit of the old world and the new world, together.
Yeah, like modern and classic, right? At the same
time. There was nothing like that. So
yeah,
I had a ton of ideas, and I decided, you know what? If they don't exist, I'll make them. So.
Yeah. I love that. So you grew up with that passion. I love that. It's pretty cool because I like growing up, I'm into design too, with my own company, right, Lewis, and I would draw like architectural stuff. I don't know if you're ever into this. Like I draw a floor and the bathroom, the little toilet, the swinging door. Like I would be
Yeah,
drawing this type of stuff. Pretty
yeah,
crazy. It's
yeah,
cool to hear that you were doing that too. But
yeah.
yeah, so like let me ask you, and it's cool, man. It's super dope because I remember I was on my run this morning thinking about you because we were gonna do this today. I was thinking about the day you called me and spoke to me about the brand. Weirdly, bro, I don't know exactly why. Of course, the call was impactful and you sounded very intelligent. You always are, very articulate with the way you speak and everything. But I remember the exact moment, like where I was. Like I was outside this sushi restaurant. How I don't know why. I was thinking about it and I said to myself after, I was like, wow, I can't believe I really remember all of that. Like that's how impactful that call was. And you were telling me about how you wanted to start your company. It's crazy to think that that was 2015, like how time flies like that, I feel. But I remember you saying, Mike, I have like you have a men's fashion channel as well on IG,
Right.
right? And that's kind of what started in terms of you sharing or expressing this men's fashion passion, right? As
Yeah,
far
that's
as the digital world, I'm sure you were expressing it prior to, but
yeah, that's what triggered it all. I noticed I started
You're very
addressing
stylish ever since I met you, you know, like way
this
back.
guy is
dude,
fly, bro.
so I
But
knew
like
Ian.
classic fly, not like
Yeah,
loud, like Gucci
yeah,
symbols everywhere. Like,
yeah,
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 no,
yeah,
like,
no.
yeah, to the
yeah,
T, you know, like,
yeah,
yeah.
yeah.
Yeah, thanks, man. Yeah, I've always been more into the yeah, I like more of the classic look. I like adding a little flair to it, but it's got to be like a sophisticated flair, a little bit of power, power here and there with some of the items, but um yeah, I mean, I started the Instagram page, the fashion page first because I think that's when I met, Ian, you and Alejandro when I was just had the fashion page on Instagram, and I just created that because I was realizing, I'm like, there's so many people were stopping me often asking me for advice, or my friends always hit me up asking me to take them to go shopping and stuff like that. I was like, sure. I'm like, all right,
Okay.
why not? But it wasn't until the fashion page I was like, I'm just gonna make an Instagram page and I'm just gonna post what I wear on a daily basis, because at that point Instagram was still kind of new,
Yeah.
and you weren't getting a whole lot of like real authentic, I guess I wouldn't even call it a blogger, but you wouldn't get like real authentic like style input. It was like pictures out of magazines, stuff that just wasn't very realistic. So I was like, I'm just gonna post what I wear regularly and I'll share with people what I'm wearing. And I didn't really think much about it. I didn't think anything was gonna happen, but it obviously caught some traction.
Yeah.
And
Yeah, you got The Rock following you and like, wearing
Yeah,
it.
yeah. Well, that's later, right? Like that's when you started. So then you started the brand. So you're expressing this
right,
passion with the men's fashion channel. And this
right.
was like when? Like 2012, 13, 14.
Yeah, I think it was like 13, 14. I
Yeah.
just started posting that, it started following, and I was like, you know what? And I had this idea for shoes. I just never thought to actually execute on it. And after a few years of the fashion, page, I was like, you know what? I mean, I've got these ideas. There's clearly there's people that are interested in the way I dress and are drawn to the style. So there's got to be people. I mean, I'm thinking of all the shoes that I would want to wear that don't exist. There's got to be people out there like me that would want to wear these things too. So if they don't exist, I'll just create them. And I use my Instagram fashion page actually to be able to connect with some people to find a factory in Italy. And I sent over some sketches to them. I mean, and it was like a legit factory. I vetted them out. They worked with some big brands. And I sent over some sketches. They sent over some prototypes, and I was like, oh, yeah, this is on.
Let's get it going.
Yeah,
Once you're holding that product in real life,
dude, it's wild. The first time you hold your product, you see your name on it, you see like your drawing, like physically, you put it on, you're like, wow, the way they look, feel, and then you just focus on like the components. Like for me, quality was always the most important thing. I would say, and I still say, um, I'm not maybe the best businessman in the sense that I don't focus on like the profit margins. I know a lot of brands that do, and good for them. I mean, I get it, it's a business, but for me, it was like a passion project. I wanted to make the highest quality product. So like my factory manager would say, hey, which heel do you like, this one or this one? Well, okay, what's the difference? They look the same. Well, this is some composite. 99% of the big brands use this. This one is, all genuine. Okay, this is €1, this is €4. Okay, give me the one that's €4. You know, what this leather, this leather, they look the same. Well, this one's a higher quality because of XYZ. All right, give me that one.
Yeah.
It was always just, I want the best. I want my customers to have the best. You know, if it's on my name, I want it to
Yeah.
be the highest quality. So that's really
Half my
that was
closet,
it. What's that?
half my closet when it comes to shoes is Fabrice Tardot, and the other
Yeah,
half is
yeah.
yours. You know, because it's like when I need something like upscale, like I always throw on the black and gold. I
The
get
Empires, dude. Those are
complimented.
legit. Those are like, that's stingray leather and like
People ask me, and I almost don't want to tell them because I don't want to see other people wearing the same shoes as me. You know, like
No, those
Hey,
ones are fire. The Stingray
yeah,
ones are called
like those are my
fire.
statement shoes right there. You know, like
yeah, that's
Yeah.
24 karat gold on that shoe. That
yeah.
was the
That was that one, right?
that
That
was
name.
one.
That
Oh
was
yeah,
dope. That's dope.
always
Yeah.
get compliments on those wherever I go.
Thank
Always.
you, man. I appreciate that.
I love it. So you built the fashion channel. You utilized that. You networked, right? You built a community, a following, in a sense, connections, relationships, right, within that space, that niche, men's fashion. And then you decided to go ahead with the sneakers because you saw this, pocket, right? You didn't find the shoe that you liked, etc. And then you built that shoe. You sent it to a factory in Italy. Sketches. You then get the sample. So then you started the company. What time did you start Mark Chris in terms of like it being available to the public, like online? I could go order a Mark Chris shoe. When did this happen?
I think it was summer or of 15.
That's
Okay.
not accurate.
I think it was actually, I think it was like June
Right.
2015. So like exactly 7 years ago.
That's
Wow.
crazy. That's
Wild.
So can
Yeah.
you give us the back end for somebody that wants to start a shoe company or a fashion brand? What would you say were like the quality or pinnacle components in that startup process? And then I'd like to ask you about from that on, but
Yeah.
what would you say is something to someone that's going to watch this as we, we have an audience with, of course, very successful entrepreneurs and individuals, right? But of course, also that younger guy that may want to, start a shoe company or the 38-year-old that's killing it in every angle. He's like, wait, I want to make a Stingray, this or a loafer or any type of company. What would you say that you found to be very like valuable to yourself, or that was like a component or something that was just super fruitful, or I don't know that through that makeup process, like obstacles or any valuable points?
When like starting the company or building it, or
Yeah, like once you got that loafer now in your hand, so we get that. That's pretty,
Right.
It's not easy, but we get it. Logical. You get the sample, right? You have it now. From that sample to having a store built, a customer ordering it, because it takes a lot to build a business. It's not just creating a shoe, right? There's a lot of hats you got to wear, and I know you started it just and I know what it is. So like, what would you say that you found that helped you go through that process to just not give up and just make it a reality? Because I feel like that's a part.
Yeah, I think it comes down to a few things. I think you got to be passionate about it. You got to have, for me, it was like, you have to be different. Like you're solving a problem, and you could say, okay, well, is fashion a problem? It's like, I'm not saying that, it's not like you're creating a service that's going to, provide something outside of the way you look, but there's something very, very deep in fashion that I think it's overlooked by a lot of brands, which is, for me, it was always the impact it made, the confidence it gave a guy. I wanted to encourage guys to dress well, but not just to look good and feel good, which does have an impact on the way you carry yourself. If you dress the part, you act the part to a degree, and you kind of mold yourself to becoming a better version of yourself. And that's at least my take on fashion and why I've been so drawn to the classic fashion and more of that, just more of the gentleman sartorial type of looks and styles. Now, for me, it was like well, this is going to give guys self-esteem. This is going to give them confidence. This is going to let encourage them to want to hustle harder. I won't forget when I first had my first pair of like high quality shoes, like how it felt. It made me feel like I was my future's, like I was literally putting like the shoes on and stepping into my future self.
Mm,
Um,
I like that.
and yeah, it was there was something very deep about it. So that's why I was always drawn to shoes. So for me, I would say find what it is that you want to do, that you actually are drawn to, not for the money, but like what you're passionate about. Because I'll tell you what, if you're doing it for the money, you're going to burn out. You're going to give up at some point. Because
Oh,
whatever you think it's going to entail, it entails so much more. And I learned that getting into it. I mean, I think all the
100%.
stuff we built, it's you get into it, and then you think, okay, it's going to be pretty easy. Okay, I have to do this, then that, then that. I mean, I Googled how to start a shoe line. I literally Googled
Yeah.
it and followed the steps. But you don't realize that each step has 50 sub steps to it.
There's a lot in between the lines that you may not see on Google, right?
So much. But I had the prototype, and I was like, okay, well, this is dope. Let's roll with it. So I kind of did my own modeling. I mean, I already had the fashion page, so I was like, I'll just start wearing them and putting them out there.
And you're a good-looking guy. You have nice tail, you have beautiful clothes. No, I'm just saying. You put on the shoes, it's good. You were able to market. I did the same thing. Not that I'm saying I'm good looking, you know what I mean, though. But I'm not bad looking. But yeah. But I did that. That's how you start up. You really get your image and build your audience, and and money's not pouring out of every angle of the world, right? To go hire models, photographers. Every little thing gets crazy.
Dude, so. Yeah. And I had saved money from commissions in my previous job that's how I started the brand.
I wanted to ask you that too, because I know there's someone that's going to see this. Like, so where did this guy get the money to make these 90 shoes out of cow leather? I heard him say 24 karat gold, Yeah. Like that's realness. I want the realness,
Yeah.
That's all you are. So
yeah, dude, no, that 100%. I was of the mindset of, if I'm going to start something, I'm going to use my own money. It's gonna be money that I was working in. I would save some commissions, because I always knew I kind of wanted to get into something.
And that's real estate. When you reference commissions, right? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
So you were doing the real estate, getting commissions, and you had this dream, this desire with the fashion, all these different thoughts you just put together and said, okay, so you funded it yourself, and that makes you just stay up late type. That changes everything. That one thing, it changes everything. You're either going to work hard for it or work not at all for it, right? And it's going to lose. Yeah. So I see that with you, and I like that. I want to say, man, I'm proud of you, from afar, because I know what it takes. I know exactly what it takes, man. And it's not easy. It takes a certain trait, and qualities and makeup. Like, I already know, like, parts of how you were raised, pause. You know what I'm saying? Like, your growth from prior to me even knowing you, like, you had to be instilled with certain levels of discipline and just work ethic. It gets that deep. It really does. Because I just know what it takes, to keep going. 100%. You've been going for 7 years.
100%. It takes a lot of faith, a lot of discipline, and just perseverance. Really, for me, it was one of those things. Once I decided I was going to do it, I remember making the decision. I remember I'm being on the phone with a buddy of mine, telling him, I just kind of threw it out there, like, I'm kind of thinking, I think I want to make a shoe line. He was like, dude, that's exactly what you should do. I told him a couple ideas, and at that point, I just made a decision. I'm like, you know what? I'm doing it. I'm not going to think about it anymore. I'm just making a decision right now. I'm just going to move towards it, and no matter how hard it gets, I'm not going to quit. I'm just going to figure it out. And I think that's probably one of the biggest traits that most people I don't think give themselves enough time. They think, I'll give it 6 months or I'll give it 2 years. And it's like, you've got to push and push and push. And when you think that it's over, you keep pushing. And when you think that it's going down, you keep pushing. And when you think that it's smooth sailing, you keep pushing.
Yeah.
And I would say perseverance is probably one of the most valuable traits to have. And also, just, you got to be able to know how to adapt and pivot around obstacles. Like, things are going to come your way that you're not prepared for or plan for or know how to handle, and you just have to figure it out and keep moving. You can't stay on it too long. And I learned that the hard way too. Like, I would sit on something for too long, not sure which decision to make, and indecision is a horrible place to be. Make a decision. It's either right or wrong. And it's not just one way to get the right answer. There's 10 ways you can get the right answer. So just keep trying to make decisions and move forward, keep the right people around you. And yeah, I mean, that was kind of my thought process getting into it. Just, I'm not going to quit. I'm going to do whatever it takes. I'm going to figure it out as I go. And if I need help, I'm going to try to find people that can help me. If I can't, I'll Google it and learn it myself.
Yeah.
which, you know, you
That's
wear a
what you
lot of
want,
hats.
bro. You want to know how to catch the fish, right? You don't want me to catch it for you, you know?
Right, right,
Yeah.
exactly.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point in my business, it's wild because there's so much that, like, there's things that I don't do it anymore that I still know how to do. And if I had to do it, I could hop in and do it. And it's just because I was hands-on the whole way through. And I
Yes.
think there's some value in that. And also when you fund it yourself, you're more careful. You're not just throwing money. When you get an investor, you can just throw money at things. But like, let me just try this and that. When you have limited resources when you're starting off, you're much more strategic. You try something, see how it works. Okay, tweak it, try it again, and you're much more cautious. And I wanted to approach it with a sense of slow and steady, and I wanted to feel the results, and I wanted to feel the pressure too.
That's what they say in the marathon world too. You know, slow and steady wins the race. You know.
Exactly.
100%.
Exactly.
And I love what you said too, attached to what Ian just echoed, which I love, is the slow, not the slow and steady. What was the second part of what you just said? I just saw a boat fly right by me. What was the second thing you just said? You said slow and steady. And then the next thing I
oh, and then just the funds, like, you know, you having that pressure. And
oh yes, the pressure. So I love the pressure. You have to love it, right? That's huge. So I'm happy you just recalled that, you know, because you know that's like everything. When I'm even running, like when that pain comes on, I love it. I want to run with that pain. I'm like, oh, I'm waiting for you. I feel my leg now. I'm waiting for you to.
yeah, you know, it's crazy.
Just like the working too, everything.
It's so true. You know, people, and most people will do whatever they can to avoid pressure, avoid confrontation, avoid discomfort. And it's like, what they don't realize is that's where the growth happens.
Exactly.
If you want to stay comfortable, you're going to stay complacent, and you're never going to push yourself beyond that. So it's like, you need to become comfortable being uncomfortable.
100%.
And that's kind of my approach on everything. And when I feel like I'm getting comfortable in a certain area, I'm like, okay, how do I push myself further?
Yeah.
You know, what do I do to keep that pressure on myself to keep going?
Oh, 100%. That's how you keep going, right? It's like really how you do it, you know? And let me ask you, Mark, I really like, I relay into this in a different way usually on other episodes, but like, what's like your morning routine? Because I'm curious, what do you do like in that morning routine? I feel like there's something going on with you, definitely. You know? What's going on, man? What's going on?
That's a good question. My morning routine is, so I used to be a very much of like a night owl, get up and I would just get up and go. And I think as I've grown, I've really developed a morning routine, which is game changer. I get up in the morning, usually around 5:30 or so, depending on what time I go to bed. It's usually between 5 to 6, depending on what time I go to bed. But I'll get up. First thing I do is I go take a cold shower. And then from there, I'll sit down and I'll probably do like a quick meditation, 10 minutes just to kind of clear my head. I don't look at my phone for the first hour of the day. So that's another thing. Like, just let my thoughts go, my brain, you just start working. And then after I do a quick meditation, I'll read for a little bit. I got a lot of books that I keep around me, and I'll read for a little while. Then about 6 o'clock or 6:37 ish, I go hit the gym every day, every morning.
Oh yeah. Okay.
Yeah. And then by the time I leave the gym at like whatever 7:30, I get to my computer and I look at my list of, you know, I call it the power list. I write down 5 things to do every day, something I got from Andy Frisella. So
yes, I was literally looking at his post today.
Yeah, I literally, I mean, that was huge for me. I started paying attention to what I put into my mind, not just like what you put into your body, but what I put into my mind. To a very deep degree, in the sense that, so I'll hit the gym and then I'll get to look at my list and I'll just, okay, what's the first thing to do, and I'll just start going. and then at night I'll try to chill out a little bit, read again, and then before I go to bed, I try not to look at my phone for like a half hour before I go to sleep, and just keep the thoughts going. But in addition to that, I started paying more attention to what I think about, in the sense that, like, I mean, do you know, you guys know me. We like hip hop. I mean, I've listened to so much music growing up. I never thought much about it.
Yeah.
But the past couple of years, it's like I'm not watching much TV. I couldn't. It's funny. I mean, it's kind of like an inside joke with the team. Like, if athletes, like, if they'll order a pair of shoes for me, I don't even notice the name.
Yeah.
Like, someone on my team will be like going through the list and be like, yo, do you know so and so bought a pair of shoes? I'm like, I don't. Who is that? But I don't recognize the names because I don't really watch stuff. Rarely am I watching. And I don't even, at this point, I don't even really listen to a whole lot of music. I'll listen to, like, if I'm listening to something, it's either like a podcast, like I'll listen like what's Real AF or whatever, Andy Frisella's Ed My Less podcast.
Okay. Yes.
I listen to that stuff to get my mindset, like, how do I get better? How do I get better? And then I'll listen to, it's either that or I'm listening to, like, honestly, do like soundtracks, instrumentals. So it's like there's sounds, but there's not lyrics, because I noticed I'd get up and I'd be repeating lyrics in my head all day, and it would be just distracting me.
That's like eating the veggies and leaving the crap on the plate.
Dude, it's
just get that sound, let it tingle and do its thing, make you feel good, like get a vibe, right? But you don't need
it clears my head.
Yeah,
dude, it clears my head to be able to just focus on what I need to do.
No, I feel that.
So for me, I've been focusing more on, like, just trying to get better in every area, and how do I edit things out of my life that aren't serving me. That's kind of where my approach has been the past few years. It's really just where can I cut a little bit more time, because I think what we all probably realize is the most valuable asset we have is time, and how are we using our time. We all have the same 24 hours in a day, so if I want to get ahead, I need to be taking time from somewhere to apply it to something that's going to be beneficial for me, my family, and the community. So I try to clear my mind from things that take me away from where I want to go.
I'm the same way. I don't watch any TV at all, like, because it's like very distracting,
I mean, dude, yeah, don't get me wrong, it's inspiring.
Like, I do listen to a lot of hip hop because it sets the vibe, like,
it
and
does.
I like the vibe.
It does, and it's not like I never do. Like, I will occasionally, but it's really when I'm like, I just want to, like, chill and not think, as opposed to most of the time I'm trying to think.
No, I'm on the same vibe, yo. It's crazy. Like, lately, I'm listening to Frank Sinatra, like, just old school shit, like stuff, like, classic stuff.
Dude, Sinatra and Dean Martin.
Finishing my sentence, bro. Like, you said it earlier, I'm on the same stuff, I'm like an old soul type of guy. Like, I'll throw on the Drake and all that stuff here and there, vibe here and there, but naturally it's not what I'm turning on these days, I have a playlist at my house with Sonos, and it's all that.
I mean, look, and it all serves a purpose. Like, there's inspiration. Like, a lot of my inspiration came from film, came from movies, like I mentioned before. Whether it's Goodfellas or Casino or Wall Street, or even like Tombstone, like old westerns. Like, I get a lot of inspiration from film, and even music. I mean, Dean Martin was a massive inspiration for me. I mean, if you probably look back in my social media, if you scroll back far enough, you'll see me wearing black suits with red pocket squares. Like, that came from him. That's how he dressed. He always wore a red pocket square, black tux, white shirt, black tie. I mean, there's definitely inspiration that came from that. And then even years ago, when in Drake, some of his past CDs, you mentioned, like, I remember, I don't know which CD it was, with Six God and
Take Care album, all of
that one, like that album really spoke to me at that time in my life, because it pushed me to just grind harder and hustle harder, and like he was talking about what he was manifesting, and I was feeling like I was going to manifest that same type of stuff. But then I use it for for what inspires me, and then at that point it's like, okay, now keep moving,
level up. No, we appreciate any art. You're an artist. We're all artists. Ian's an artist. He curates an amazing channel. We do what we do too. And we love it. It caters to us, right? Everyone shares their expression, whether it's music or this or that. you know. So I love it. I really love that morning routine. That's powerful. It's very similar to mine. I love the meditation, the wake up early, the workout a bit, right? I really get into like journaling a little bit, just like putting down what's my thought right now, like first
Yeah.
thing in the morning. I've studied that, or I learned in a book. I feel like I studied it because I've been hearing it. That like that first moment when you first wake up, and your eyes open, or you get like that conscious, like you're awake, you know, you're not sleeping. That first thought, like initial thought, like first 10, 15, 20 seconds, if you could extract that thought, right? And then throw it on like a graph and do it for like 30 days. And you really start to see what the initial thought is each of those days. You'll start to see like, you know, what's trending. How do I really feel? It's like such a raw feeling when you first wake up. And if you could alter that process or that thought to be like a positive one, or let's go get it. You know, the girl that has this 5-second rule. She jumps right out of bed after 5 seconds. You know, there's all these hacks, right? That these like high performers have. And yeah, it's very important, man. Like I like that you don't have the phone on, you know, and you're aware of that initial moment. That awareness really helps dictate the day, you know, a bit. So
yeah, 100%, dude. And then even at the end of the day, I have like almost like a wind down routine where I try to do some visualization, which I just try to do. Sometimes I don't get to it, but I know it's important. But what I'll try to do at night, I'll hit the gym in the morning, I'll lift weights, and then in the evenings often, and it could be like 11 o'clock midnight, I'll go for a run. And I don't bring headphones. I go for a run, and what I do is I always know about 15-20 minutes into my run, like if I'm just thinking and I'm running, and throughout the day, everything that happened and what I want to accomplish and going forward, thoughts start to come in, and I get very creative at that time. So I'll then grab my phone and I'm not on social media. I'll grab my phone, go into my notes, and I'll just start typing down things. And sometimes you can get into like a serious flow state where it's just like I'm jogging and I just see it clearly, like I have to do that and then that, and this connects. And I'll type it all down. I'll set reminders on my phone, and I'll go to bed, you know, kind of excited about the next day, knowing like, or sometimes I'll get back and I'll go right to my computer and work till 1 or 2 a.m. But otherwise, it's like I now have more clarity of what I need to get done the next day and the next day. And it's kind of like doing that same routine. It's the morning and the night. You know, there's a lot of stuff that goes on in the middle of the day, but if you can control your mornings and nights, I think it really it changes the whole playing field for you.
Yeah, I don't know if he heard it, Ian. You know, I just told you this, right? Literally, like I parallel the morning and the night, right? I literally just said, I don't know if you were on here before you heard it, yeah, but that's what I literally do. What I do in the morning, I'll parallel that exact activity backwards, reverse engineered, right? Reversed at night. You know, that's the way. That's what all these high performers do. Yeah, when you search billionaires, like, you know, we're all aspiring to be as successful as we could be, you know. They all do this, you know, and like you said, it sparks. It's almost like when you go in a shower. I don't know if you guys experience this too. I think it happens to like 90% of people. I don't know, but you have ideas or something, like something just hits. It's like a weird moment in the shower. You know, the running does this too. So it's very important, man. I love that you're doing it. And I knew it, like I asked, what are you doing? Because I see an entrepreneur from afar that's doing something for 7 years, there's something going on, you know, there's those special traits. So it's awesome. And, you know, Mark, attached to that, not to jump all over, I got to ask you, so you developed the company, you have a great audience, you have a great collection of shoes. We love it. The content is amazing. How did you get in touch with The Rock? How is The Rock following you? Like, The Rock follows like 200 people. He's like the most famous guy in the world. How did this happen?
Yeah, I thought that question might come up.
I have to ask. I mean, I don't know. You know another brand that like The Rock's wearing, like genuinely like supporting and all this? I don't, you know.
I don't. And that is such a gosh, I don't know how to keep that in cliff notes, because that's such a whole.
No, give me the whole thing. I mean, you don't need to go crazy, whatever you want.
So how did I get in touch with them, or how did you start wearing the shoes?
How did it start? So you're Mark Chris today. Tomorrow you're dealing with The Rock. Dwayne, 200 million followers, the biggest man in the world. Like, how did this happen?
Yeah, I think you know, after
I guess everything, because to me it really is this. I'm a marketer, bro. I know how valuable that is. You know, he's like
It's
literally probably $2 million to have wear your shit, wear your product, and post it, and he just
probably.
doing it like
Posting
genuine.
about it all the time, you know, like
Yeah,
he loves the product. You could just tell when people love the product, you know, he's one of those guys and he's huge. So that's awesome.
Yeah, thanks, man. I'm definitely it's very humbling and I'm very grateful for that because it's actually, to be honest, it's extremely organic. Um, and I think what it would come down to is there's a few things. I mean, after reading all these books and stuff now, I'm like, oh shit, it was probably just the law of attraction, working its
There you go.
magic. But at the same token, you know, that gets you so far. You have to take action. So for me, when I started the brand, I wasn't, I'm not, I don't pay attention to a lot of celebrities, but I was like, all right, if I could have one person wearing my shoes, who would I want to wear my shoes? And I was like, The Rock. And he wasn't nearly as big. I mean, you going back 5, 6, 7 years ago, he wasn't nearly as big as he is today. I mean, he was very well known, but maybe he had 10 million followers instead of I don't know what it is
oh,
now,
for real?
315 million or something. I mean, yeah, going back 2015, I don't know how many followers.
Yeah, I know. I hear you.
It
He
was
wasn't that
very
big.
small. It was
Today
very
he's
small
huge.
compared to what it is now.
Yeah.
I think now he's like 315 or 20 million. I have no idea. But um, he was someone I just knew I wanted to get in touch with. And it came down to I was just when someone I wanted to get in touch with, I was okay, well, how do I find them? How do I find one way to get, stand out to them? And long story short, I knew who his stylist was, and it was a different stylist back then. And funny enough, I had reached out to him. I had sent him a DM on Instagram, introducing myself, saying I would love to get a pair of shoes for him, and he replied back, which I was not expecting because I've DM'd plenty of people that didn't respond back.
Yeah.
And he said, he's like, hey, I'm actually aware of your brand. Thank you so much. We're filming Ballers in Miami. Once you come on set. And I was like, awesome. So in my head, I'm thinking this is like amazing. So I went there now, and I didn't really I didn't talk with Dwayne. He was filming, and like, dude, I mean, talk about the hardest worker in the room. That's so legit. He would be filming a scene, taking a break from a scene, going into his trailer for a conference call on like a different film, come back out, shoot. But it was cool being on set the whole day. I was with the stylist, and he picked out some shoes for him. And then we had them made. He obviously had to have his stuff custom made, and we sent it over. But then what's funny is that he never wore them. Like, or at least apparently he did. I haven't seen them in the film, or in the show. So the next season come out, I'm like waiting to hear, did he wear the shoes? No, not this. Well, next season we will. Okay, hey, did he wear the shoes? And it was a couple years, and it didn't really go anywhere. But then he went, he switched over his stylist to Ilaria, who I work with now. And Ilaria had reached out to me for a shoot for a different client, for I think it was Donald Glover at first.
Oh, okay.
And that was, again, me, that was just, she recognized the brand on social, and when her assistant reached out saying, hey, Ilaria would like to shoot for I think Donald Glover, Childish Gambino. And I said, okay, cool. And then I said, hey, by the way, I know she styles The Rock now. I have his size already made I know his size because I met with his previous stylist.
Yeah.
If she'd like anything for him, let me know. And they were like, okay, I'll let you know. And they came back and were like, hey, actually, can you get us the Kingsman?
Yep, those are the ones I remember seeing him.
Yeah. So that's this one.
Oh.
And I'm like, yeah, absolutely. So I had it made, and like they needed it in like 4 days. They wanted it like so fast, and that's one thing when you work with just stylists, celebrities, they move so quick, and things are coming up so quick that it's just like, hey, can we have this? And we need it, you're talking days.
Yeah.
And so I called my factory and I said, hey, I talked to my factory manager. I said, you need to stop production on everything. I need you to just solely focus on getting this shoe made. He's like, when do you need it? I said, I need it in 4 days. He's like, you want me to have a pair of shoes handmade in 4 days? we have to cut the soles. It's his foot's big. I said, I don't care what it is, we need to get it done. So anyways, they got it done. He sent it to me. I overnighted it to LA, and but then then again, he didn't wear them. It was for some movie, I think Rampage at that time, and he didn't wear the shoes on the tour. So again, I was like, okay, and you expect that when you work with Hollywood, when you work with stylists, they have a lot to pull from. So some stuff they'll use and they might not need it, which is it's just that's just how it operates.
That's the nature of it. Yep.
It's totally the nature of it. It's not. It's just you need options.
Yeah.
So he didn't wear them, and then I kind of forgot about it, to be honest. And it was like a year later, out of the blue, I was on Instagram and I saw that Laurie had posted something from the MTV Generation Awards. I think he won.
Okay.
I think it was that, and I was just reading her caption and I saw like Mark Chris shoes, and I was like, wait, hold up. And I scrolled up and I saw him wearing the shoes, and that's when I was like, oh, wow, that's pretty cool. But I mean, but you're talking it was probably 4 years from when I made that initial connection to when anything actually happened from it. So I think that comes down to persistence and still being like, I guess, law of attraction. But then what's wild is that he really liked the shoes. That's where it got pretty cool, because then she messaged me and she was like, he told me he's been wearing these shoes a lot, and he wants some more. So can I have, and she ordered, can I get this one, this one, this one, this one? And then at that point, really from then on, that was probably 3 years ago, I think 2019. From that point on, he's consistently, ordered shoes, and then he started following the brand, which that was wild. I didn't realize that. I didn't even notice when he started following me. I was just like, why are my followers blowing up? Yeah, he started following the brand, and then to commenting on our post. Like, we'd post something and he would comment on it, and I mean, what a cool thing to do when you know that you're at that level. It's so humbling, and it really says, I think, a lot about his character, and I'm like grateful that he's been so organically drawn to the brand and how he expresses how he enjoys it. I'll never forget this one caption. I posted a picture of, I think, him wearing the Kingsman on, I think it was like Kelly Clarkson's show or something. He came out, and he was wearing that pair, but the black version. And I reposted it on my shoe page, and he commented, he's like, I only rock the best shoes in the game, and he hashtagged Kingsman. And that, you're just like, wow. I mean, and at this point, I've been in the fashion business industry for 5-6 years, and you're like, okay, every big brand wants him to be wearing their stuff, and the fact that he's organically wants to wear mine, he's saying things like, and those comments, it really is very, very humbling, because you know what, it goes back to what I was saying in the beginning of this conversation. I focused on the quality, and I think that the quality
speaks for itself.
I think it stood out to him. It must have stood out to him because the comfort, the design, the material, the look, feel, and touch obviously had an impact on him. And it's just, that's where I go to saying, do what you're passionate about. Don't try to cut corners and think about profit. Just do what you love and do it to the best of your ability. And I think that in itself, of seeing what has happened with the relationship that him and I have had thus far, speaks to that in volumes. So yeah, I'm just very grateful and humbled by it. And I try not to think too much about it.
It's very fulfilling. It's one notch. You got to keep going. What is it? You really, it's big, but you got to, you definitely got to keep going, like that perseverance. You planted a seed, a beautiful quality seed, right? The manufacturing, the materials, everything. And you nurtured it very well. Like you going out there to link with that stylist on the Baller set. That's what you gotta pull up your pants, get your stuff, and go right there and stand there, right? Do what you gotta do. And over time, it could roll into something that's amazing. And I feel it's gonna keep developing. I mean, what do I know? I know what I know. I think it's amazing. I know you, and I know the product. I love it, man. I think you have a great future with everything.
Thank you, Brian.
What's to come aside from like with is there anything new to come with Mark Chris aside from the shoes? Are you developing other categories? Are you staying with that main thing, keeping the main thing the main thing? Like what's that? I'm curious to know.
Yeah, so at this point now, I've been playing with that a lot because there's a few different directions things I want to get into, and it's like, okay, what comes first? The past few trips in Italy, I went to visit a couple of women's factories, leather goods. So there's things I want to get into, but right now the focus, there's more exciting things I think coming up before that. So I'm working with Ilaria now, and she's Hollywood's top male stylist, and we're working. I'm sorry.
You said she's what stylist?
She's like Hollywood's top male stylist.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, so she styles The Rock and a bunch of others.
Yeah.
I mean, a lot of the yeah.
Very cool.
So
A-listers.
yeah, so right now, her and I actually the past year, I haven't been talking much about it, but we're about ready to release. So we've been working on a collaboration line. So we designed 3 styles together that she co-designed with me. And right now,
you and her.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Very cool. So that's not with The Rock or one of her like clients. It's you and her directly. But she has the power, of course, to seed it right away to A-list celebrities because she's literally styling them.
She styles them. I mean, and some of them are already, customers of Mark Chris, but yeah,
that's awesome.
The bandwidth that she brings to the table. I mean, she's very creative. She's what I love about working with her is that she's so, she knows what she likes, and
she's certain,
and she's not afraid to she's not afraid to try things that other people won't do, which I love because that's kind of how I operate. So it's been really cool, and we've been able to design some pretty dope styles that are based on like the 1970s type of vibe. I'm actually
awesome.
Right up here.
Very cool.
But we're we shot them. We have The Rock actually wore a pair, I think when he won some award, and he gave it to gosh, I'm drawing a blank on what that was. Award, maybe recently Jeff Bezos presented him with something, but it was this one.
That guy wins an award every day, man.
I know, but it was this one. So we're now dropping a very 1970s style collection of three styles, and that's going to be announced really I mean within a matter of the next couple of weeks. We're working on the press release right now, so that's exciting. Really looking forward to that. I mean, talk about keeping that hush for a year and designing quietly about it. It's nice to be able to kind of be like, yo, this is coming next.
Yeah, no, that's exciting to see, man. It's awesome.
Yeah, so that's the next thing that's coming up that I'm really excited about. Have some other styles I'm releasing. Got into belts about a year ago, and the belts have been doing very well too. So focusing on reversible belts and really trying to make belts that match a lot of the core style shoes and the colors and whatnot. So then the next thing will be, we'll see. There's a few I'm working on.
Yeah. Let me ask you something last, real quick. It's a bit different than what we usually do, but I'm curious. I feel like you'll share some value on this. We heard all these valuable things. Let me ask you, what has been, let's say, somewhat of a pain point, if you don't mind referencing or shedding light on this to some extent? Like in a starter maybe area, like what did you see that was difficult in a sense for you to overcome? Because I feel like it's something that we don't shed enough light on. And that's like something that people could just, everybody goes through these, of course. It's not all shiny leather and, which you're not portraying at all.
No, it's true though.
We touched on the grind. We touched on it, but to give it a little bit more light, what's like an obstacle that like you felt was just like, this shit hit hard, but like I had to overcome it?
That's a really good question. That's a really good question. And I'm glad you're asking it because honestly, the key for, I think, anyone who's listening to this really should be like, what can they take and learn from it?
Yeah, I always want to do that. Like I personally love the shoes. I love everything. It's very
Yeah.
fine quality. We're all into the fine stuff and the marketing, the building, the perseverance. I feel like, it's kind of getting a lot of echoed now, which is unbelievable, and like you said, you look at Andy Frisella, Dean Graziosi, all these different guys, right?
Yeah.
Lewis Howes, all these different people.
Yeah.
I think I even saw Manny Koshman too, right? Like,
Oh
he's
yeah,
got
yeah. So
yeah.
Manny's
He's great. But
he
like,
was my
tell
first.
me, what would you say could be something that maybe someone else can find, similarity with? Like, wow, I did face that, but that's how he overcame it, or that's his outlook on it. If anything comes to the top of mind, I don't mean to put you on the spot.
Oh yeah, it's good. I mean, I guess, I don't really notice the I guess off the top of my head, without thinking about it, I don't notice what obstacles really came up that I had to overcome, because you just kind of do, you just have to figure it out. And I think that's what it comes down to. There's things that I look back and like, man, if I was to do it all differently, I would have done this and this, and I could have saved some time and resources and things like that. As far as obstacles, if you put the customer first and you think about the customer and the value you're going to give to them, and you want to, and for me, it's not even the product. I mean, the product is of course important, but to me, the product that's standard. You want to give a good quality product, but for me, it's the experience, everything in the experience, the presentation, how you make someone feel, and then it's how am I going to inspire them. So I focus a lot on the customer, and the next, but I would say the thing that, I guess, if you were to ask me like what's a pain point that I wish I had known earlier, it would have been to build out a team quicker, get an assistant quicker, get things off my plate a little bit faster. Because what happens, I think, with a lot of people when they're starting their business, and why a lot of people can say kind of in that small business mindset, is they have to do everything and they control everything, and they don't know how to relinquish control to somebody, or they don't even know how to train them. So it's easier for me to just do it.
That's the mindset for many.
That's the mindset.
It's so unfortunate. It's very unfortunate.
So true,
that's why I need to shed light on this, I feel, because you've been in it, I've been in it. And it's a weird thing. It's like, wait, let me pay X amount of dollars per week to hire somebody. And people really push that back, and they don't realize that it's actually hurting them,
Well, yeah, because people view it as an expense, like, and the truth is, it's not an expense, it's an investment. You're investing in your company. In order for you to, like, for too long, I was working so much in the business, I wasn't working on the business. So finding some key people that can help you, and in the beginning, look at, if you can't afford people, you got to get creative.
Get the interns.
You got to find a way to get creative. Ask some friends, family to help you. Talk about paying them showing them the vision and how they're going to be a part of it. There's things to do, or hey, this is what I can afford, but this is where I want to take the company. There's buy-in. People need to be. You got to be enthusiastic about it and know where you're taking it, and you need to be able to express that to the people that are working with you, so they're bought into it too. And you have to be genuine about it. You got to be authentic. You can't, for me,
anything else won't last.
Someone authenticity, like being unapologetically me and just being authentic and genuine of who I am. I know I got flaws, but it's like, as long as I know I'm being me and trying to get better every day, then that's all I can ask for. So you got to focus on finding people to help, because the quicker you can do that, the more you can focus on the growth and the scale and and things of that nature. So for me, that was a huge one. I was like, man, I wish I had done that years earlier.
Yeah, I'm so happy I asked that question, because I love everything here, but this was my favorite part. I'm gonna ask that question. I loved everything, but I love that, because I feel it's so raw, it's so real, and it's like what people need to hear. Building that team is everything. MVMT watches, not to throw a random loop. MVMT. You have to. You may have seen them.
Yeah,
Yeah,
I've seen, I've
watch
seen
it.
that.
Yeah.
I've seen that.
Yeah, they're big. They sold the owner is Jake Hassan, and this is his partner Kramer, I believe, whatever. They sold the company for like $100 million to Movado, and I don't know all the details. I think he's acting CEO or this or that, but I saw an interview, and I always retain this one moment because he's young, looks like us. You know, it was a bit years ago. You know, and he said on the interview, they said, "What's the difference? Like, how are you making 72 million this year on Shopify?" And everyone else is trying to get up there and do this. He goes, I'm doing exactly what everyone else is doing. Besides, I'm doing one thing I don't think everyone else values as much. I'm investing in people and I'm getting interns. He says, I have 22 kids or something like this. I don't know how many. I don't want to get held to anything, but like X amount of kids that are just interns.
Right.
And he's the same age as them all, but he knew to put this much energy and time into that. And do you know 9 out of 10 people, they just look, it's like a green light. It's got all the money and the growth, everything you want, but they just look the other way because they want to save money on the Friday instead of paying 10 people or, you know, this and that and the third, or they don't get creative to put the time and energy into discussing or creating something that's, you know, unique, but captures that person to come into the company, whether it's an intern or you give them equity, right? So it's pretty intense, like, you know, how overseen that is. So I'm happy I asked that and you referenced that because I hope it tells people, however, you know, many, you know, to invest into people, get an intern, get creative, because you're going to be in the same spot for a long time. And you'll look back 5 years, 10 years later, like, wow, Amanda, Samantha, Tammy, Brandon, and this one and that one, they actually allowed me to get to the next step. Like it was so worth it. And I invested in them. It wasn't like they're taken from me. You know?
Right.
That's that mentality.
Invest in people and also invest in yourself. So I try to do that. I try to focus on how can I get myself better? How can I be a better leader? You know, I'm a creative at heart. You know, I guess I'm I'm probably analytical and creative. And I think that being able to notice that you need to invest in yourself and in people to become better is such a key thing that people look past. You know, you got to keep growing, you got to keep learning, you got to keep trying.
I think that the energy you put out is what you're eventually going to attract, you know, so you become a better leader, people are going to want to, you know, be in your circle, you know, so
yeah, exactly.
I agree with that, you know.
100%. That's really, well said. It's true.
Yeah. Mark, I can't thank you enough. You know, we love you. You know, next time I'm in Miami, I got to see you. It's been a little bit. So next time you're in New York too, you already know. All right.
Yeah,
definitely. Appreciate you, bro. Appreciate you coming on and keep it up. You know, Ian and I are always in your corner.
Touch, yeah, man.
Thank you. Appreciate that.
What else is coming?
Thank you. Appreciate that. It means a lot. Thank you so much for taking the time. And let's catch up soon for sure.
We're ready, bro. Thank you as well. All right. Take care. Right.
You too,
Take care, brother. All right, guys. Cheers.
Thanks.
Thank you for watching this episode. We upload a new episode every Friday at 5 p.m. EST, Eastern Standard Time. We as well greatly appreciate those that have subscribed to the channel. We appreciate the love and the support. Lastly, if you've missed last week's episode, tune into the episode right here.